Wembanyama with a step.
Wow.
Victor changing heads, and he throws it down over Jakob and gives it a little stare as well. For the Spurs.
Let's see this again, Dan. Quick, decisive move, finishes with authority. Love to see it. Look at that. Jumps from outside the well outside the circle, through the body of Jakob Poeltl and puts him on the highlight reel.
You would think that if a 10-43 San Antonio Spurs team was coming into town, the Raptors would be able to take care of business, but that wasn't the case. The business took care of them. Victor Wembanyama came in, made history, and left the Raptors in the dust in a terrible loss for Toronto.
You can miss shots, you can have an off night with shooting, but your effort and your defense and rebounding, that has to be, and playing with pride, that has to be there every night.
Wembanyama made his debut north of the border and just dominated. He finished with 27 points, 14 rebounds, and 10 blocks, becoming the first rookie since David Robinson in 1990 to register a triple-double with blocks. Wemby's presence on defense completely deterred Toronto from getting into the paint. The Raptors got outscored on the inside again, and the Spurs forced turnovers, which killed the Raptors.
Yes, early block shots just changed our attacking the paint. We were hesitant to attack. We did not shoot the ball particularly well tonight either, and it just like one thing trickled the next thing. And Wembanyama is the player who's going to play in this league for the next 15 years. So we need to figure out how to attack and how to play against him. And definitely a player who is unique with his size and shot blocking ability.
The story of the game from the Raptors side is Scottie Barnes, who struggled immensely, scoring 7 points on 20% from the field. And while he did finish with 9 rebounds and 9 assists, he was frustrated throughout and could be seen heading into the tunnel before the final buzzer sounded.
It is definitely a learning opportunity for all the players on the team, from young guys to all the vets. And this is not the performance that we want to have. This not competitive spirit that we want to have. So everybody's got to look in the mirror and figure out what we need to do. We need to be in our shoes. We cannot be anywhere else. And tomorrow is a practice. We have a game against Indiana, and they got to take care of business. We cannot be anywhere else but being our shoes and taking care of business today.
The one and only positive from this game was Grady Dick and Kelly Olynyk, who led the Raptors in scoring with 18 points and 17 points respectively. The two quickly developed a chemistry together on the floor, and that is what we are talking about because we need some positivity in our life for the film room. So the Raptors made a change in their substitution patterns, putting in Emmanuel quickly with the bench instead of Scottie Barnes, and that provided a lot of pop for their second unit, especially as they played around Kelly Olynyk. Kelly and IQ have this little pet pick and roll situation. IQ goes under and then uses Kelly's screening ability to seal off the defender and get a wide open pull-up three. Kelly's vision in the open court is great too. Watch him find a cutting Grady. This ends up in a goaltend call. And in general, I thought Grady was, again, awesome. This time he gets all the way to the basket in transition. This is something that Gary Trent Jr. struggles in, but Grady seemingly has a really good knack for early in his career. This time, dribble handoff situation with Scottie Barnes, and Grady just settles into the three-point shot. I am very interested to see how their relationship and their chemistry develops because it seems like it's a perfect partnership on the court together, as it was when Grady initially got drafted. This time, a pin down from Kelly Olynyk opens up Grady, just levels Cedi Osman on the screen. Grady gets the advantage here, gets downhill, settles into a mid-range jump shot. Beautiful work from Grady here, but also it is the assist, the screen assist from Kelly that helped that one out. This time, similar action, a pin down for IQ. IQ comes off of the pick and roll, and then he zips it to Grady, who hits it in the corner. That little three-man game right there between IQ, Kelly, and Grady is something that I need to be tapped into more in that second unit. I think the Raptors found something here. As much as we can harp on the 30-point loss that they just sustained to a terrible team, I do think the Raptors can take away from this game the fact that they found something with their second unit. And just in general, I'm loving the confidence from Grady to take these contested looks as well. So Grady has a pretty good look here, but Cedi gets out to contest and it just does not even matter to his shot. Another great play by Kelly Olynyk, who draws help from the nail, kicks it out to Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown breaks down the defense and Grady is wide open in the corner for the three. I just think the Raptors might have found something with their second unit. I really do, especially with Kelly and Grady and IQ sort of zipping around these dribble handoffs and pick and roll situations with him to kind of get things going for them offensively. I think that is a pretty good source of offense for them. And I wonder how that works when you incorporate Scottie into it as well. I actually think that it's important for Scottie to learn from Kelly in these type of situations, because you know how Kelly is sort of pitching the ball back to IQ quickly, pitching it back to Grady quickly. I need the ball to stick less. And with these guys, these are the type of pet actions that you have to work with back and forth to find that opening, because these guys are such talented shooters, right? Grady is an incredible shooter. Kelly Olynyk is such a good shooter. And obviously Emmanuel Quickley is a great shooter. Finding ways for them to get even just a small pocket of space to shoot, super important for their development. Also, I think it's something that Scottie needs to get better at as a screener, as a partner in dribble handoffs. People will bring up the Scottie thing. That's going to be the topic of conversation for this game. So let's just hash it out here. Personally, I think it's a very, very bad look for him to walk out of that game. I imagine the Raptors organization probably thinks it's a pretty bad look as well. And I see a lot of fans saying that it was a bad look too. No question about that. It's a bad look. I mean, how many more times am I going to say it for y'all? It was a bad look. I do wonder what will happen. And if the Raptors do decide, there is obviously that precedent of Pascal Siakam doing something similar and him being suspended. And who knows, he was a little bit older. So maybe, the jury is sort of out on how the Raptors will approach this situation with Scottie. And also, you think about like management, right? When you're with a boss or whatever, no punishment is the same, right? You don't like lay down the same consequences for someone as you do for another person. That's just not the way it works. So I'm not sure how the Raptors will approach the Scottie Barnes situation with him walking out of the game. I'm not sure, but he was lethargic tonight. There was no effort from him and a lot of the team tonight. Like the defensive effort in general was just absolutely abhorrent. They gave up 122 points to the San Antonio Spurs. They've now given up 120 plus points in 15 of their games in 2024. It's just inexcusable the way this team is playing defense. They constantly play down to their competition. The level of talent that is on this team with RJ Barrett, I mean, they're fully healthy now, right? With guys like RJ Barrett, with guys like Jakob Poeltl, Scottie Barnes, IQ, Kelly Olynyk, Grady Dick, etc. Like, this team should be able to at least pull out wins against a 10-win San Antonio Spurs team. Wemby made them have a lot of headaches in the first half. Wemby was just this monster on the inside, and the Raptors essentially feared going to the paint at all costs throughout the game. It really hampered their ability to get their offense going. But the defense side of the ball is just inexcusable. They were allowing straight line drives, dribble penetration galore, and the Raptors just had no answers for the Spurs offense. How are you going to be able to give a crap on the defensive end? This is what it means to be a rebuilding team, to still be able to stick to the things that you can rely on when the rest of the game isn't working. A rebuilding team, you look at teams like Detroit and Houston and teams who have recently come out of a rebuild and Orlando and etc. And like, you don't want to develop the bad habits, right? And defense is a lot about your habits, about your effort, about your technique. And when you're going into every game assuming it's going to be a loss, it's a lot harder to maintain that level of effectiveness, maintain that level of effort, especially on the defensive end. Just to give you guys a story, I'm working on something around Dylan Brooks for Team Canada for the Raptors Republic stuff that I've been doing. And I asked both Dylan Brooks and Coach Udoka, coach of the Houston Rockets, how much of defense is effort versus technique. Both of those guys said that 90% of defense is effort. Why did they say that? Because at this stage, at the professional level, you can learn the technique pretty quickly. Guys can teach you, hey, you have to have this angle, you have to go around this way, you can put your hand here. These different technique elements can be taught very quickly at the professional level because for the most part, these guys have been doing it their entire careers. The effort, though, that type of stuff just can't get taught. You have to be able to buy into that. We've seen this Raptors team. We've seen the players on this Raptors team play defense at a high level. Scottie Barnes has been able to do it before. Emmanuel Quickley has been able to do it before in New York. RJ Barrett has been able to do it before in New York. Jakob Poeltl has been able to do it on successful teams. There has been Bruce Brown for the Denver Nuggets has been able to do it. Like, these guys are talented individuals defensively. The cohesiveness as a unit is not there. One part of that is the fact that they are new personnel. You're bringing in Kelly Olynyk, you're bringing in Ochai Agbaji. Those guys don't know the team. You know, the team is also just getting healthy, so they have to get used to playing with each other more. But the effort has to be sustained. The buy-in has to be sustained. And if you lose those things, as you continue to lose, you will lose your way. That's just the way it is. And rebuilds will prolong and become longer and longer and longer because you don't have that buy-in, because you've lost that ability. And that's why, you know, Masai Ujiri harps so much on winning, right? Using the word winning so much. We will win in Toronto. We will win Toronto. Why? Because they want to instill a mentality onto the team that it's all about winning, that it's all about putting your best foot in, your best effort in to win some games. And, you know, Bobby Webster talked at the trade deadline and said, look, like, we want to see this group together. We want to give them a runway to see how they look together. And so far, you've had some moments where they've looked great. And you've had some moments like tonight where they look god-awful. And so this is the progress that you have to go through as a young team. The Raptors are a super young team outside of Jakob Poeltl and Kelly Olynyk and Bruce Brown. Like, they're an extremely young team now. And these are the bumps that you're going to have to go through in order to build out what the future of this team will look like. But the buy-in, the effort, the ability to, like, give a damn, that has to be there even when you're slumping against the San Antonio Spurs. It has to. And so from the Scottie perspective, when you look at, you know, him walking out of the game and the lethargic stuff and turnover and not running back on defense, et cetera, that type of stuff will build up. That type of stuff is a reflection on yourself. And you know, you guys saw the recap I did against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I said that was the best, most vocal game I've seen from Scottie Barnes this season in terms of leadership, in terms of like just like commanding attention, talking to his teammates, being a vocal leader. And like to go from that to this is like a polar opposite type of situation. What the solution to that is, I'm not sure. And I'm sure the Toronto Raptors will find a way to figure it out. But yeah, you have to find a way to sustain effort and sustain giving a damn. Because if you don't, you will lose yourself in the process. You will lose what it means to win basketball games in the process. And it'll make it much harder to get back to that point. You can look at a million different rebuilds and point to that example. The Minnesota Timberwolves, for 20 years, the Minnesota Timberwolves were caught up in just figuring out how to create a culture until a generational prospect like Anthony Edwards came in and engulfed himself into that culture, became the culture in Minnesota. And now you see the Minnesota Timberwolves are absolutely dominating. New York Knicks, right? For a very long time, no culture whatsoever. They hired Tom Thibodeau. They signed Jalen Brunson. They bring in Julius Randle. Those guys gave a damn. Those guys work hard. Those guys have buy-in, and they create this culture. It's about creating a culture. You hope that guys like Scottie Barnes, guys like Darko Rajakovic, you know, can kind of help create this culture moving forward. It's Rome wasn't built in a day, folks. And that's all I got on that front. Next up is Indiana Pacers. Pascal Siakam, the reunion. We'll see what happens. Thank you so much for tapping in. And for anybody who did listen to the reaction podcast, thank you so much for listening to the reaction podcast. Honestly, I'm not sure if I did all that well of a job, to be honest with you. Doing a live hour-long reaction is a tough thing to do. I've learned that. And I commend Samson Folk for doing it all the time. He does incredible work, as you guys all know. I don't hold a candle. You'll understand the reference if you do. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe to the Raptors Republic YouTube channel. Everybody here on the channel does incredible work. So many good shows, so many different perspectives that you should listen to. Obviously, you know, buy in, tap into the website as well. Incredible work on the written side of things between Lewis, between Samson, some of the other people on there too. So definitely do that. Thank you so much, folks. Appreciate you guys hopping on with me as always. And we will see you guys later. Take care. Happy Valentine's Day also.